Hello and welcome back to another Bad Movie Reviews review hosted by your favourite Rose Amongst Thorns, Ben from Down Under, and I'm reviewing a film I've been somewhat interested in since the trailer and I saw the director attached, and that is none other than The Roses, which is essentially about a married couple who are somewhat picture perfect, and under that facade they are under a lot of competitiveness and resentment and trying to somewhat win in this situation of a potential divorce. And if you're not familiar, it is somewhat of a reimagining of a film called War of the Roses, which is written by Warren Adler. And this is being adapted modern times, obviously, by it's written by Tony McNamara, who I was interested in once he detached, but he is the writer of Poor Things, which is the late previous Yorgos Lanthimos film, but he's also done The Favourite. He's a common collaborator with Yorgos. He did the script for Cruella, but he is a um, very, very, very talented writer, Australian writer as well. But the film was also directed by Jay Roach, who has somewhat done a few um, somewhat serious films in the last few years. He did Bombshell, he did the Trumbo film, but this is a man who's directed a few of the Meet the Parents films. He directed all the Austin Powers films. He also did Dinner for Schmucks, which most people would know, but that is a somewhat guilty pleasure of mine. But this film, I thought from the trailer, looked a lot of fun, and you've got a stacked cast. You've got obviously Benedict Cumberbatch in the lead role as Theo. You've got Olivia Colman, who I love, as Ivy. You've got Kate McKinnon in the film. You've got Andy Samberg. You've got Nikita Gatwa from Doctor Who, Barbie, Sex Education on Netflix, and I had an absolute ball with this time. With the absolute ball of a time with this movie, and I think with this and The Naked Gun recently coming out, it seems to be shaping up as a year that is really, really going to do well for comedies. I imagine this is a film that, and it's a film I could really recommend to anyone, any demographic. Obviously, it is MA 15 plus or R in America for its language, but anyone who's obviously able to see it, I could recommend, and they will have a ball with this, in my opinion. I think it is incredibly funny. You've got some fantastic performances across the board. Benedict's fantastic in this. It's something that we probably haven't really seen him with in. Olivia Colman's obviously got fantastic comedic chops, and she's great here. But not only that, I think having actors of this caliber really highlights the script from Tony McNamara, who obviously is incredibly talented when it comes to writing scripts, and even like Poor Things is hilarious. Favourite's hilarious, which is obviously Olivia Colman was in. And she's great at obviously adapting that writing to screen, and it is incredibly sharp and witty and funny, and a film that, in my opinion, really, really works well here. I think Jay Roach is also a very talented director when it comes to comedy. He's obviously done a lot of comedy in the past, as I said, being Austin Powers and even didn't Meet the Parents films, but obviously going into that somewhat serious. There are genuine bits in this film as well where it is obviously dealing with love and the idea of obviously leaving that person you obviously once loved, and there's a lot of emotional weight to it as well, a lot of emotional weight to what these characters are going through, and I think it's really obviously elevated from these performances from Benedict and Olivia, but overall, I think the film in general is, I think, the best of everything. It's funny, it's heartfelt, it's heartbreaking at times, and I feel like this is like a romantic comedy that, you know, probably hasn't been done that well in recent times. Obviously, I saw Splitville, which I reviewed here, and that was a great comedy, a romantic comedy. I know it's advertised as an unromantic comedy, but I feel like this year is shaping up to be a really great year for comedy. Obviously, I've talked about horror, but horror and comedy in 2025 is really, really peaking, in my opinion, and I think this is a great time, a film that I recommend any demographic, any age bracket, any gender. They will, in my opinion, have an absolute ball with this. It is a bundle of fun, a bundle of joy, and I think the side characters are really tie in well as well, and I feel like it really blends because British humour and American humour is obviously extremely different, but it does blend British humour really well, in my opinion, because you're obviously dealing with British characters, but they live in America, and all the side characters are American, so it's somewhat, the problems they're dealing with are somewhat kind of really not temper, but like kind of really keyhole into that situation, where I think a lot of Americans will understand that kind of, humour, and I think they just did it really well. But overall, I can't recommend this film enough. I think it's a really great time. It's a really great comedy. Comedy's back, and it's something that I think has been missing for quite some time. But overall, I recommend it. If you have seen it, comment below, let me know what you think. If you like the review, give it a like, follow some more. We'll see you next time.